There was some news, which is that Ja Morant's friend Devonte Pack, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Devonte Pack, was deposed for information about what he witnessed in an incident between Ja Morant and a teenager who was playing basketball with Ja Morant at Ja Morant's house in Tennessee. And I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm not going to do the journalistic disclaimer that every other podcast does where they're like, you know, I'm not a journalist, but ... Like, I'm going to steer into this because it's true. I have an actual writing background, okay? I'm not one of these podcasters who's just like, I just sit in front of microphones and talk shit. Like, I know how to research. I know how to get stories. I edited my college newspaper. I grew up in newspaper at my hometown. I have published a book. I'm writing another book that both have required some extensive research. Like, I really do this. I'm not, I cannot hide behind, oh, I'm just a podcaster. You know what I mean? I'm not like, I can't be, oh, I'm Joe Budden. Like, I was a rapper and now I'm a podcaster. Like, no, I'm really one of these types of people who knows how to research a story, cite sources, try to glean credible information. And so in reading this story about Devonte Pack, because I was feeling around trying to understand, all right, what happened between Ja and his friend? I'm not the Fed, so I'm not trying to indict Ja. I'm really not even here to criticize Ja. I really just wanted to know what happened between Ja and this kid that came to his house who claims that he was attacked by Ja and threatened. And I was interested that his friend Devonte Pack was deposed, who, as I see in these stories, seems to be the same friend who was suspended from coming to Ja's home games on the Memphis Grizzlies. Because he was a part of an incident with Aaron Nesmith, who is a player for, is that the kid's last name? I think so. Who's a player for the Indiana Pacers. He walked onto the court, this guy Devonte Pack, they say. And by the way, I'm also not here to criticize Devonte Pack because, as I have seen in the videos, like, these guys have guns. So I'm not here to criticize. I'm just here to talk about the story. I wanted to get a sense of, like, who is Devonte Pack? And as the internet would always have it, there's literally a feature in sporting news that just is titled, headlined, "Who is Devonte Pack?" And so I scrolled and I learned some things about this guy who was the guy in the video with Ja when Ja held up the gun. Recently, he was the guy that was with Ja at his house when Ja got into the incident with the kid. He is the guy who was with Ja on the court when Ja got in trouble with the Indiana Pacers. I believe he was also around thereabouts with the incident where there was a red light allegedly being beamed at the Pacers team bus on their way out. So Devonte Pack is around. After he was suspended from Pacers games, Ja Morant even tweeted, let me find the exact tweet. They did an investigation, seen they were capping, still let an article come out to paint this negative image on me and my fam, and banned my brother from home games for a year. Unbelievable. Which his boy Devonte Pack retweeted and wrote, "All false info. Crazy how you believe their side of the story when the cameras don't show nothing," that article said. Just saying all this to say, Devonte Pack is Ja's mans, right? Devonte Pack is Ja's very close friend. He calls him a brother, which is a funny thing because I just posted a reel from our Corday interview where Corday is talking about how loosely we use the term brother, and it is indeed an epidemic right now. But here's what I'm really here to talk about. Being a writer is about point of view. So I try to come to things and see them as they are, but it is impossible for me to not project onto them what I want to see. When I came to this story, what I was looking for was, why is this person around? Why does it seem like this person is around when Ja gets in trouble? And that's not to blame this person for Ja getting in trouble. Ja, at the end of the day, can only blame himself at this point, because pointing blame anywhere else has no ramifications. You can't even do anything with that blame, right? You can't blame the police because as often as police should be blamed, you can't do anything with that blame. So I found at the bottom of this article, and this is why I'm good at this. This is why I'm good at the thing that is journalism and writing. I found some very important information about Devonte Pack. I'm just going to read it as it is here in the sporting news. Devonte Pack basketball career. Okay. That was a, do you know any of this information, Josh, that I'm about to tell you? But does that already, just by hearing that, does that prick your ears up?
Yes, absolutely.
Indeed. Indeed. Devonte Pack basketball career. Okay. We're talking about the guy who is right next to Ja almost each time that we know about, that Ja puts at risk his extremely celebrated, valuable basketball career, where he is making millions of dollars to play this. Forget millions of dollars. Millions of dollars was when he was a rookie. Tens, dozens, hundreds of $millions to play this sport, basketball, the sport we're all here to talk about. That's the point of the show. Devonte Pack basketball career. While Morant attended Crestwood High School in Sumter, South Carolina, Pack attended Lakewood High School. As seniors, Pack's Lakewood team got the best of Morant and Crestwood both times they met, according to Max Preps. Okay? I'm going to paraphrase that to say these two guys played for different high schools that matched up twice, and Devonte Pack's team beat Ja Morant's team both times. All right? Does that make your ears perk up a little bit more? All right. Keep going. Pack went on to play collegiately at Cowley Community College in Arkansas City, Kansas, before transferring to NAIA Friends University in Wichita, Kansas. All right, so Pack was good enough on a team that beat Ja's team twice to go on and play at a community college and then transfer to an NAIA school, Friends University in Wichita, Kansas, okay? By the way, like, the places dudes will go to keep their basketball lives alive, Wichita, Kansas. Does that sound like somewhere you want to be? All right. Over 3 seasons, this is where it gets interesting to me. Over 3 seasons, I mean, it's all of it's interesting, but it's getting more interesting. This is storytelling, by the way. Over 3 seasons at Friends University, Pack averaged 15 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game, earning an honorable mention to the NAIA All-America team after the 2020-21 season. Okay? So, 2020-2021, that is, I want to say, the year, I think that's Ja's rookie year, if I'm not mistaken. Ja was the rookie of the year that season, and his man's, Devonte Pack, was in Wichita, Kansas, earning honorable mention on the NAIA All-America team, okay? Nobody under the sound of my voice knows what the fuck that is, right? Right, agreed. Loosely we do. I mean, like, kinda, sorta, but, like, nobody knows what the fuck that is. Beneath that is a video of Pack reaching 1,000 career points, but Falcons come up short versus Ottawa, all right? And I'm looking at a photo of a guy in a jersey. There's about 4 cheerleaders behind him. It looks like a high school gym. And imagine the disparity between what Ja Morant's life is and what his main man's life is that we keep seeing in these videos with him. Now, this guy has since launched a clothing brand that you can find draped on Ja sometimes, helping him to market it. Like I said, I've been to this guy's Instagram before. I have seen where he takes a video of Ja Morant and then the next swipe over is his clothing brand, and and he says in the caption something along the lines of like, now that I got y'all's attention, buy some t-shirts. You know what I mean? So I'm not being subtle. I'm painting a picture here, right? Which is a guy, and this is where I'm going to take it away from Pack, because I don't want to demonize this dude, because this is common, all right? Now I'm really going to say some shit. I was a competitive, but compared to really good basketball players, like a very marginal high school varsity basketball player, okay? Good enough to play on a really good team, not good enough to play in college. But I played amongst guys who were good enough to play in college. Some of those guys played at the high Division I levels. We had a teammate who made it to an Elite 8, I believe. He was on the number 1 ranked Pittsburgh team. He was a starter on that team. Jermaine Dixon, that's Juan Dixon's little brother. I had other friends who were, my friend Ashiel was the star wide receiver at my college, Morehouse College, for 4 years. Brandon Driver, another one of our teammates, went on to play at San Jose State, almost had a professional career but hurt his knee. And then beyond that, at our rival schools, we got guys like Fowler and Campbell, who played in the Final Four at George Mason and was a professional overseas for many years. We got guys like David Brewster, who y'all know as Dave East, who was a Division I college basketball player, who was a phenomenal high school basketball player at Springbrook, in my exact same class. Who was awesome. And then I like a list that goes on and on. You have like the dudes from the Willows, who are fucking Jamal, Munda, Jeremy. You got Brandon Headley, who was a star at our high school. You just got like all these dudes who were really, really, really good at basketball in high school, but not good enough to be NBA players, okay? And then, of course, you have guys like Kevin Durant, Ty Lawson, Carmelo Anthony, who come from Maryland, who we played against, some of those guys, and they were pros. But, like, forget about those guys for a second. I want to talk about what it is for a person's peak years of life to end when they're 18, and to watch people who they know well, to be in group chats, to be in close contact with people who they care about and who they love, to watch those people ascend to a place like where Ja Morant is. This person, Devonte Pack, Ja Morant is a father. And this guy might be too. Ja Morant has $75 million shoe deal. He has $200 million NBA contract. He is on billboards and in TV shows and on, TikToks, and he's a trending topic every other night. Like, this guy's life is enormously different than his brother Devonte Pack, his brother as he calls him. But there's something going on where this guy is not really willing or able to do what is probably best for Ja, which is to say, Ja, you have to go on without me. That is something that people do not know how to do. That is something that, as I look around, the people who came from where I'm from, who would do well to create some space between them and their friends. I think it's always the onus is on the person who is in Ja's seat to say, I got to separate myself from this life. If this is the only way we can relate to each other, then I just can't have it. I just got to leave. I just got to be lonely for a little while. We always put the onus on that person because, of course, they have the fortune, they have the wealth, they have the notoriety. But is it fair, and this is a real question, is it fair for me to ask, would it be good for this other guy at some point? People always talk about, the friends are supposed to protect the cash cow. You know what I mean? The guy who's selling T-shirts off of Ja Morant's brand and likeness, that's the guy that's supposed to protect him, to stop him from having the gum, to stop him from... Is it fair to ask, is it ever just the right thing to do for that guy, Devonte Pack, to say, you know what, bro? I'm going to block your number. You know what, bro? You got to stop hitting my phone. I got to stop inviting you to the spot. Like, we got to go our separate ways because I got to find what are my feet to stand on going to be after my NAIA all honorable mention All-America career is over. What is my life going to be about? Because orbiting around your son is not working. It's not working for either one of us. Is there any onus on that dude to just be like, peace out for you? And I'm going to be real with y'all. I recently, a couple years ago, I was very close. I'll call it with a friend. And I knew for years I just could not stomach this friendship. I couldn't stomach this friendship. Like, I was doing it. I was a friend to this person out of desperation, out of loneliness, out of not really knowing what my life was about to become. And this person was also in a similar place. And as I started to see my life turn, I realized I don't need any more of this kind of negative energy that I feel when I'm around this person. This sort of battling of egos, but under the facade of us being actually kind to each other and us trying to like drag, he was getting into a relationship. I was soon getting into a relationship. We were trying to sort of make it work with our two new people and all this stuff. But I just knew, like, I really, really knew it in my gut. Like, I got to leave this shit behind. And then COVID came and I was able to press the eject button. And I didn't do it in a way that was subtle. And I didn't do it in a way that was even really kind. It was just like, here's an opportunity to get out here. So I'm out. And as I've reflected on that, a lot of that was out of self-preservation, but I also realized, like, I was having a negative impact on him. Like, I did not want the best for him. I was being selfish. I was contributing to both of us not growing, both of us not seeing straight, both of us not treating each other and ourselves the way that we needed to be treated. And as I've looked back on it and I've thought about, oh, should I reach out? Should I reconnect? Should I blah, blah, blah? What comes to mind is like, that's not the best thing for me, but that's also not the best thing for him. And I just feel like, that part of the story, I don't even think we think of that part as an option. The part where somebody presses the eject button on themselves out of someone else's life to help that person. Ja would probably feel abandoned. He would probably feel like my bro switched up on me. Probably feel like, where'd you go? He might never even know that this dude is doing it to save him. But I think that's sometimes what real help looks like. I think I did pretty good on that Ja segment, because that's a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm not done. Fuck. I got one more thing to say about it, which is it's spicy, man. I really got to say it though. I see basketball really matters where I came from. Like, basketball really, really, really is a big deal in my hometown. And my hometown, as much as I care about it and think it's cool, nobody knows our hometown. I think it's kind of like culturally known within like a very specific segment of like HBCUs where people know like Moco versus PG County, Silver Spring. I think it kind of rings bells in those circles, but generally speaking, our hometown is like a stop on a highway that you pass by on the way somewhere else. But, and I don't even mean, I don't mean that in a disparaging way. I'm probably going to move somewhere around there pretty soon, but basketball really matters, and I feel like I'm watching the ball players who were the biggest stars from our high school. I'm watching them trying to find a way to relive the joy and stardom that they felt as 18-year-olds in their adult lives, and we are almost 20 years removed, and I can see, I'm pattern matching it. I see it very clearly. It's like, oh, this person knows what it feels like to actually be a star, because that's what it is in our little petri dish. Like, if you are the star ball player, like, you have an orbit. If you are killing on Blake, Springbrook, Paint Branch, Blair, well, nobody ever kills on Blair, but like Mockening used to kill. But schools like that, if you're really that guy, you have an orbit, and it seems like just so elusive and so impossible to replicate that feeling that those guys were getting from being important for what they could do back then. And if I'm being 1,000, watching them try to replicate it, and let me not remove myself, right? I felt some of that glow too. And I became addicted to some of that feeling of like mattering in a way, like matter. You know what I mean? You go to another high school, you walk through the hallway and people know like, oh, that's Blake. They're nice, you know? And I felt the other thing, which was not mattering. We sucked my senior year. We walked through the hallway and it was kind of like, oh, that's Blake. Remember when they used to be nice? So I felt both of them. But I'm talking about the thing where you were like nice the whole way through. Then you went and played in college. You know what I mean? I never felt that thing. But I can see in the eyes, like I can see it on them. We're trying to get that feeling back. And there's something, sad is like too basic of a term. There's something like wistful about them. And there's something that I see as, is that tragic? Is that tragic? Josh is nodding. Like, that's a little tragic. Like, because life has so much, there's so much more. Like, there's so many, You have other gifts. There's so much more you can like feel excited about and be celebrated about if that's what you need or if that's what you want. If you're a performer, you know, there's so much more. And now I get why the old people were always saying like, don't get, you know, like, don't define yourself as an athlete because one day when that's over, you're going to need another identity. And like, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. Those guys don't have another identity. Okay.